Premier League season is over. Now we can start picking apart all the teams that got relegated and taking their best players into other different teams. And also Dortmund both did it yesterday. Fairly easy to just say, oh, Madison should go to Dortmund, Tielemans should go to Bayern, and also Bella Kocha should come to Man United. It is very easy to say that, but first you're supposed to look at the players and then look at the type of player they are and the type of team that you're merging them with. For example, Madison and Dortmund. You look at how Madison plays, and you have to look at how Dortmund plays, and you have to make a logical guess and a logical answer to putting these two together because players that play differently from a club will either end in a part where the team has to play for the player or the player has to change their statistics for the team. Like Ronaldo to Man United for the second time. Ronaldo was a goal scoring person that never pressed, that never dropped back to defend, whereas Man United were going into a phase where they're trying to be a Liverpool, trying to defend from the front lines, having that front three starting to defend. So that made a situation where, yes, Ronaldo is a goal scorer, but is not a presser. And Man United is more of a was more of a team structure than a one person running the show. That made Man United become a Ronaldo club. It was not Man United for that 1.5 seasons. It was Ronaldo FC. Made Ronaldo was given the chance to only score goals and not press, and Man United will have to suffer for that by having a very terrible defense, having to rely on Ronaldo if he was in his game or not. And if Ronaldo wasn't with it, he wasn't with it. Man United would lose in Ronaldo when he's not in his day, like the 4-1 loss that happened, that even led to Ole Gunnar Solskjaer getting sacked. And also when Ronaldo's on his best, he carried Man United like a literal goal, literal scoring a hat trick against Norwich, carrying Man United through the group stages onto the round of 16 of the Champions League. And it made Man United rely on Ronaldo more than Ronaldo needed to rely on Man United. So when you're pitting players, like I said, what we're going to do right now, we're supposed to make logical decisions and get facts first, how Madison plays and how Dortmund plays, and we see if that would make a perfect sync, like the ah! That's been a Goku reference. Wow, that would that we see if they'll join together and become a brutal force for maybe even make Dortmund win the Bundesliga next season and not leave a situation where Dortmund rely on Madison to be on form or Madison has to change the way he plays just so that he can start for Dortmund. So that's what we're going to do right now. Sit back, relax. This is a long ass intro. Thank you, HITC7s, for making me have long ass intros, and let's get into this thing. So we're going to look at the players that I just mentioned in the intro, Madison and Dortmund. That would be a suit fit, right? I mean, I know it's because at first it sounded like it was random, but I actually kind of think that makes more sense. And there are kind of news articles that are following on to it. Dortmund are a team that really don't pay for players, rather go for freebies, and Madison would be a cheap or a freebie if they wanted to wait for a while. So, how does Madison play? Okay, I'm doing this while I'm actually doing something, so yeah, just get like so. So, how Madison plays is sort of he's a natural number 10. Now, Dortmund haven't really had a sort of natural number 10. The TV isn't on, for fuck's sake. So, well, I mean, if you want to change the perspective of number 10s, you could say Jadon Sancho was a number 10. Or you can say Royce is a number 10, even though in the back of his shirt is number 11. But you could say that is true. But with the context of everything, I think we can safe to say that Dortmund really have never had a number 10. Julian Brandt was supposed to be one. Jude Bellingham is supposed to be one, but he plays more of an 8 more than a 10. So, would Madison really be a number 10 at Dortmund? Specifically, he wouldn't. He would drop into the part where, which is going to be vacated this season, since Jude Bellingham is already going to Spain. So if they do get Madison, they would force him or make him play in an 8 role, which would
severely ruined his game as he's tried to play in an 8 for Leicester. He has never ever been productive in an 8. That was mainly for. Oh, I need new batteries. I don't have money. That was specifically for our next player in this list, Yuri Tielemans, the number 8 that is been wanted by Manchester United since the dawn of time, innit? So, my guess would be Tielemans would be good for Dortmund, but I don't think Tielemans would like to go to Dortmund because right now he's at a stage in his career where he needs to be at a club that is constantly playing Champions League and not only going to fill up spaces, but is also a guaranteed contender for the Champions League. And I see Dortmund to be not that. Dortmund are never a contender for the Champions League. You can say yeah they are, but they've never been. Even with the 2 years Haaland was there, they've never been a contender for the Champions League. Even for the freaking Bundesliga title, they've never been a contender, except this season when they actually capitalized on Bayern fucking up every time. So Tielemans doesn't want to start going to a club where he's going to have to start being an overachiever with the club, rather being going to a club that is more stable, more title based, more a club that is so confident in the competitions they're in, like a Manchester City, PSG for the league. I know there's this thing of PSG are never contenders for the Champions League, but I mean like a few years ago they were in the final, they were in the semi-final, they were in the round of, they just came on the round of 16 this season. Yes, they've been out of the round of 16 7 times out of 10, but like okay, what the fuck am I saying? If he did go to PSG, he would at least be competing for the Coupe de France and for the league title. He wouldn't be competing for the Champions League. I think he would want the Champions League more. So Manchester City, right? If Manchester City win the Champions League this season, which I severely doubt it, that will come in a video later on down the line. But just know I don't expect Man City to win. If they do win, by some miracle they do win, that's a sure bet, right? Tielemans to City. But where will he play and how will he play? And if he does go to Manchester City, will he play? Now, there's talk that Gundogan is planning on leaving. Let me just use the fucking thing. There's talk that Gundogan is leaving, or he's been linked to Barcelona more times this season, and it looks like he's not signing an extension. Maybe he's waiting for the Champions League. I would, in his position, would also wait for the Champions League. But if he is waiting on the Champions League and Manchester City don't win the Champions League, then he's out. And if they do win the Champions League, then he's in. It's something that Tielemans, again, like I said, doesn't want to, as much as he doesn't want to go to a team that is going to be considered overachievers, or whenever they do something miraculous, like, finish first in the Bundesliga, they would be considered as a team that is doing this for the first time and will not consider title challenges in the beginning, and does go to Manchester City. You'd also want to be a player that would be first on the team sheet. I mean, look at the stock of Calvin Phillips the moment he went to Manchester, before Manchester City. Before Man City, he could walk into any top 6 side. He could walk into Leicester side. He could walk into Man United side. He could walk into Chelsea squad. He could walk into, well, any squad. I mean, he played in the freaking Euros and the whole time without even producing a goal and assist, but was still considered one of the best players in that Euro 2020 played in 2021 tournament. And now the moment he went to Manchester City, it was obvious he was not going to play. But look, no, his value went from, was it 60 or 70 to now 10 million. I mean, Manchester City are even thinking of offloading the guy. I don't think Tielemans would want to be in that situation, because he knows if he doesn't play for the first 10, 15 games of the Premier League season, his stock is done. So Dortmund would be a terrible one for Tielemans. So Dortmund so far don't have to, out of the 6 or 7 players that are really good in the 3 relegated sides in the Premier League,
Dortmund wouldn't get any of them. Or would they? James Ward-Prowse. Now, there's a lot of skepticism on James Ward-Prowse. A lot are just calling him a one-dimensional player, a player that can score a free kick. Now you should realize that scoring a free kick is one of the hardest things to do, and to do it consistently is an actual talent. Same with Messi, same with Beckham, same with every single player that has been given a chance to learn how to score consistent free kicks. So I feel like having a player that can score a free kick is kind of good for a squad. Look at Southampton. Most of the games won this season came from Ward-Prowse just banging it in one top ends from 30 yards out. The 1-0 win against Chelsea, it was because of Ward-Prowse's goal. I mean, he's scored like 3 free kicks in the Premier League where they literally contributed to the result. Henceforth, I feel like he's not only just a player who can score free kicks, he's a very good ball carrier. He's a very good defensive midfielder when he can, and he's pretty good with assists. I'm pretty sure he will just give him a squad that give him a front line that can actually receive a ball, have a good first touch, and score. He could probably deliver maybe 9-10 assists in a season. So that's a player that I would recommend Dortmund for picking up. So out of the 3 players, I really recommend Dortmund to just get Ward-Prowse, because Ward-Prowse would be a cheaper replacement for Jude Bellingham, and it would give them more time to go scouting into the never-ending abyss of Africa or South America to find another gem and talent right there in the disposal that they can pay 600k for, and then charge 300 million later on, because that is where we're going. Again, that's a video for the future, but I feel players are going to be worth the same amount as countries' GDPs. Players already getting paid more than countries' GDP. I mean, not GDP, countries' national budgets. I'm talking about African countries, like our country here. Our national budget is 3 billion. I have a serious problem with the fact that Ronaldo plays football and gets more than every single government institution and government person in my country bind, and they're getting it per year. Ronaldo is getting it a week. How this world is really going more into communism. But anyway, that's not my problem. I don't give a fuck about that. I give a fuck about what these players are going to play next season, because I do not want to see Maddison, Yuri Tielemans, James Ward-Prowse. Okay, maybe James Ward-Prowse can play in the championship, or even Patson Daka playing in the championship. I would rather let them go somewhere else. But I mean, Patson Daka should just stay put. No one is ever going to pay 50 million for a guy who only scored 6 goals in the Premier League. So relax, Papa, relax. Let's just talk more about the other players that I think should really find a better club, and that club should go for. Smooth transition. Now, apart from the old heads that we talked about in the beginning, these two are kind of really young, in Samavinho and Sinisterra. So these are players that kind of need to be nurtured like they are actual children, because they are actual children. So in my perfect analogy, these are the 2 players that go to Dortmund. Again, they join Ward-Prowse, and because Dortmund right now are the best in managing young talent. Them and Benfica like competing, they're like this, but I feel they're the best because they are able to integrate them way better into the first team than than any other team does. Leeds did try to integrate them more, but then they realized that they needed experience, and they weren't in a situation to trust youngsters to save them from the drop. That kind of is what brought them to the drop. That's why Sam Allardyce just came in and kicked out Islam Melia and brought in a more older goalkeeper. Even though that kind of didn't work out, it did reduce the goals they allowed, except from the last game of the season where they allowed 4. It did kind of help in reducing the goals that they were letting in, because it was a goal fest with Melia, who I don't think should even be given a chance to leave the Premier. I think he should go down with Leeds to the Championship, learn from the Championship with a 40-something game season, make sure that he is, gets more experience in the Championship than the Premier League, because in my opinion, the Championship is way more harder than the Premier League, because the Premier League you've got to determine top six that you have to avoid losing to, whereas in the Championship everyone is either a big club or a small club or in the middle. There is no such thing as big six. What big six can you mention in the Championship? If you can, please do that. Do give me a big six in the comments. And while you're there, subscribe. Yeah, subscribe. Why not? I mean, why not? Why not? Why not? Subscribe so that when I make other videos like this, you can be the first person to say I'm the crazy one here, and I could say thank you. You actually got notifications turned on without me telling you. Do that. Cause quest to 100 subscribers. Come on, let's go. But yeah, so I feel with these players, I have them in a list here. So if it's not a script, it's just a list of players that could go out for free. It's just never mind. So with Sinisterra and Somerville, they should go to either Dortmund or Benfica. But in my opinion, they should go to Dortmund. Is that they will be integrated more and they will be given trust to. I mean, Dortmund are famous for putting children in their in their squads and really giving them that full immersion of football, that brainwashing of football, the good type, the one that makes you more experienced and makes you feel like when you're playing in these tournaments that you've done this before and that the team trusts you to do it. Tournaments like the Champions League and the Europa League that they're constantly in, not Europa League, but recently more in Champions League. They are more in the Champions League. They go further in the cups. They compete for the title sometimes. But you get more competition in your head so that you're more in tune to being a competition player and be used to being in a competition. Like you're competing for a prize, not just competing to get minutes and get your own goals and assists, but competing for a greater good and that winning your squad a trophy someday. That's why I also think Benfica are a close second, because they always compete for the Portuguese league, and also it looks like they'll also be going further in the Champions League than I anticipated. Quarterfinals is pretty good. Don't downplay it. So with those two exceptionally young players going to Dortmund, I feel like there should be one that should stay in their squad. Who do you think I'm talking about? I'm talking about Gnonto. I think that's how you pronounce it. He is one player that has even broken into the Italy squad for a couple of games, but should just remain in the Championship and with Leeds so that he could, I'm being contradicted. It sounds like I'm contradicting myself, but I'm not, because while I'm saying these players, youngsters, need to be, put into the competition mind, brainwashed into being competitive and fighting for a greater good. The Championship is also a place where they could do that, because when you're really young, you're not going to be, I want to win titles, I want to be Ballon d'Or, I want to be champion. You just want to play. And Championship with Leeds, as big as Leeds are, is going to be a far better stimulant to Gnonto than going abroad. And as much as I'm advising these kids to go abroad, it's really hard as a youngster to live abroad. I mean, especially a youngster that doesn't really speak the language. Somerville is Dutch, whereas Sinisterra is, I think, from South America. If I'm not mistaken, please do correct me in the description. I mean, in the comments. You cannot go to again, it also depends. There are a lot of external factors, but this is football. This isn't Travel Channel where I tell you where to go. So this is football. This is about football, innit? Which leads me on to my next player. I'm gonna just check off the list right now. Um, he's no youngster, but he's been a first team player for a while, and I've never really rated him. Like, tell me in the comments if you did, because I haven't really like rated him at all. That's Javi Barnes. I have never rated him, so I don't know where he should go. But like I've been hearing links to Newcastle. Well, I mean everyone's been linked to Newcastle. Even Madison's been linked to Newcastle. That's stupid. They already have uh fucking Bruno Guimaraes, so I don't think they need another playmaker. And they're already getting rid of Alex Saint-Maximin. But yeah, and also Aston Villa one, Javi Barnes. I mean, he's a solid Premier League player. He's been in the Premier League for a long time, so he would be good for a Villa who needs squad depth as they're going into Europe, which is a huge thing. Together with Brighton going also to Europe, I feel like he would be good for those two squads as just for squad depth because I've never rated him. Yes, he scores goals. He's been playing for Leicester week in, week out for the past 4-5 years, but I've never rated him. So I don't care where he goes. So that's gonna be a very short one. I'm just gonna follow the links and maybe he should go to Aston Villa, go to Brighton and Hove Albion. They're about to lose Alexis McAllister and Moise Caicedo or Saicedo. I don't know how to pronounce his last name, but you know the guy I'm talking about. So then he should just go there for squad depth. He would be very good as a squad depth player. I don't rate him for goals, so I cannot tell him to go to Mainz or go to Atletico Madrid or whatever. I don't rate him to go anywhere apart from being in England or stay with Leicester in the Championship. I don't rate him. I personally don't rate him. So I'm not going to speak of him that much. On to the next one, who is Bella Kopcha. Wow, I have never paid attention to him. This is a list I got from ESPN actually. I just didn't make up these lists my own. I didn't make up this list on my own. I got it from ESPN. That's a perfect place to get football news. So I've never seen Bella Kopcha play as good. I feel like if I'd give an honest opinion, if he's really good, you can tell me in the comments if he's really good, but he should just remain in the Championship with Southampton together with Bazunu, the goalkeeper, who people have been hyping up for this season, saying that, well, he shouldn't have been kicked out of Manchester City, but really, was he going to play? Like, was he really going to play? After that mistake that he made, you think he was going to play? Like, really, bro? I've forgotten the speed line. Are you serious right now, bro? You serious right now? So, I feel like you should just remain with Southampton. On to the next kid. Damn, I sound like Michael Jackson. I got with Rivera as well. Stay with Southampton. I feel like that's the end of the video now. That's a very abrupt ending, right? I was speaking more in depth with these others on these players where I should go. This should lead to a very good video next time in teams that should pick up free agents. Now I'm going to make my own list of free agents that I actually rate. I think this is going to Leeds. James Milner. Maybe he's signing an extension. That man's a weird man. Almost 40, and he's played longer in the Premier League than anyone combined. You've seen so many eras. Hey, legend, just like you guys. If you've subscribed, even if you haven't subscribed, you're still legends for watching. Thank you so much, and I salute you all. I'm not even American.